Today in New York, a Brooklyn man pleads guilty in a shocking case that rattled Crown Heights.
Hi, I'm Leah.
And I'm Garrett, laid-back local in New York City, rolling right in.
First up, in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, Timothy Spence has pleaded guilty in a deadly hookah lounge shooting. In August 2025, prosecutors say Spence fired over 40 shots in 6 seconds inside the Taste of the City lounge. 3 people were killed and 10 were injured. Investigators say he did it to target a rival and protect his gang's territory. He now faces more than 2 decades in prison, and another man, Elijah Roy, still has charges pending. The lounge has closed, and the neighborhood is understandably on edge.
Yeah, that hits different. Gang violence like this doesn't just end that night, it ripples. Prevention matters. Things like violence interrupters, trained community mediators step in before conflicts escalate. Better lighting, working cameras, and real partnerships between venues and local precincts can help. Not gonna lie, nothing is foolproof, but earlier interventions and outreach to at-risk teens, plus consistent security standards for nightlife spots, are worth thinking about, right?
Why didn't earlier warnings stop this? Authorities had pushed the lounge to improve security before.
Honestly, when someone walks in ready to shoot, even upgraded checks like metal detectors, trained staff, and strict entry rules can be overwhelmed. But the real fix is upstream. Fewer guns in circulation and interrupting beefs before they reach the door. All right, let's roll on. The Bronx is seeing a worrying surge in major fires, mostly tied to electrical issues in older buildings. By May of this year, the FDNY reported 27 multi-alarm fires in the borough, up from 16 in 2025 and 12 in 2024. Multi-alarm just means a fire needs extra crews and engines, signaling a bigger, tougher incident. A lot of these buildings are 50 years old or more, and outdated wiring is a weak link. City officials are urging electrical upgrades, while landlord groups say they're stretched thin on costs. The FDNY is offering free smoke detectors and safety education.
Real talk, modernizing wiring isn't glamorous, but it saves lives. I get that owners face big bills, still, public safety is non-negotiable. There's the Major Capital Improvements Program that lets landlords apply for rent increases to fund building-wide upgrades. It's a policy lever, though controversial, because tenants can feel the hike. Bottom line, deaths are rising with these fires. Education helps, but replacing brittle wires and overloaded panels is the core fix.
If you're in an older building, do the basics now. Check your smoke detectors, don't daisy-chain power strips, and call 311 for info on FDNY safety visits. It's low lift, high reward.
Next up, a controversial federal deal tied to offshore wind has New York and other states suing. Here are the basics. The U.S. Department of the Interior, which manages energy leases on federal land and waters, made a deal in March with Total Energies, a French energy company. The deal canceled a $795 million offshore wind lease and replaced it with a $1 billion oil and gas investment, which the federal government agreed to reimburse. New York's Attorney General and top prosecutors from 6 northeastern states filed a lawsuit yesterday, aiming to undo the deal and restore the wind lease. State regulators estimated the wind project could power about 700,000 New York homes and create over 1,700 jobs.
Yeah, that's a curveball. An offshore wind lease is basically permission to build a wind farm out at sea, so this becomes a clean energy versus fossil fuel pivot. States like New York have set targets for renewables. When federal policy swings the other way, projects stall, timelines slip, and the supply chain chills. That's not just turbines. It's port work, manufacturing, and union jobs on the line. Courts will sort the legality, but the practical takeaway is uncertainty makes big climate builds harder and more expensive.
Why would the government reimburse oil and gas instead of keeping the wind project?
Policy priorities. The current administration favors fossil fuel production. Whether that stance holds up in court when it clashes with existing leases and state plans is exactly what this suit is testing. Next up, trans New Yorkers have filed a class action lawsuit to block federal access to sensitive healthcare records. The suit names NYU Langone Health, a major hospital system, and the U.S. Department of Justice. The DOJ issued a grand jury subpoena seeking files related to gender-affirming care for minors. Civil rights groups, Lambda Legal, the ACLU, and the NYCLU, are representing the plaintiffs. They argue this violates constitutional privacy and doctor-patient confidentiality. It's reportedly the first grand jury subpoena in a criminal case related to gender-affirming care, and NYU Langone had already ended its transgender youth health program in February after federal funding threats.
Keeping it real, privacy in medicine isn't a technicality, it's the foundation of care. For vulnerable teens and families, the fear of exposure can be chilling. We're talking about deeply personal records. The courts will decide the scope of federal power here, but the stakes are high for patients and providers. That's close to the heart of it.
Why did the hospital wind down its youth program earlier this year?
Because of federal funding threats in February, which led the program to end before this subpoena even landed. Last up, a quick but important heads up for dog owners and anyone with sound-sensitive pets. After the New York Philharmonic's Central Park performance on the Great Lawn, fireworks are scheduled for 9:30 p.m. on June 10th. Councilmember Gail Brewer, a Manhattan lawmaker, is pushing for clearer alerts so folks can prep their pets. It's part of the summer fun lineup, but it can be rough on animals if you're not ready.
Quick tips: walk pups earlier, close windows during the show, try white noise, and make sure ID tags are current. If you're near the Great Lawn, maybe set up a quiet room. That's a small move that saves a big headache.
So there we have it. Crown Heights accountability, Bronx fire urgency, a big offshore wind legal fight, a pivotal case on health privacy, and a pet-friendly heads-up for next week.
Thanks for riding along with Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett in New York City. Have a good one. We'll catch you tomorrow.